Hey, Jack. All right. You got this stuff?
Yeah, all cleaned in oil.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Live from Springfield, Missouri, the one, the only, Keith Green.
Excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Hey, and welcome to Thursday morning coffee with Keith. Although you'll notice that I'm not Keith, I'm the melanin challenged Daswolfen. And I had to fill in for Keith today. He's having some issues. So instead of picking up where we left off on our list of the fandom's greatest foes, we are actually going to be discussing the some of the best B-rated movies, sci-fi movies from the 50s to the 80s, which is pretty much when the heyday of the B Sci-Fi feature was. So today, as always, I'm joined by Martine, and we're also joined by Joe.
What's up?
How's everybody doing today?
It's going great, man. Going great. I feel
sound a lot
100% better today. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not out of the woods yet with this sinus thing, but it feels a lot better. Got up, took a shower, said I'm going to be in there with my man, John. If for nothing else, just so I can see that clip where he says, "Can't you see we talking white?" That is my favorite thing on this channel. It's so funny.
Apparently, I'm the white in that clip.
Yes,
so.
you're the white in that thing. Can't you see we talking white?
We need a good face replacement on that video.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Hey,
if you need me to do a reface on it, I can do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's good at it.
No problem.
You should see the entrances for the entrance
video
for.
Yeah, I do all that shit on my phone, man. It's fun.
Yeah,
they've got such great apps on your phone now. I can sit there and watch TV with Foxy and just play around with it and make people look like different things. It's cool.
And I'm over here playing with full version apps, and I can't get it to look that good. So.
Well, you got to use the best stuff. I mean, I went ahead and bought the lifetime membership for Reface, which is the best one out there, at least for a phone, and it does great things, man. It makes it look real. It's really cool. The only handcuffs you have on you is the quality of the video you're using. Really?
Yeah. That would always be a hang up. But I'd like to. We got some of our friends in the chat. I'd like to say hi to him. Of course, Penny's here. But Penny wasn't first today. Today was Tim was first. Wondering if the Voyage to the Seventh Planet's on the list. No, I didn't put that one on the list. I had already had my fill of, or already got several 50s features, so I didn't want to I could load the box with. We could do a whole show just on the 50s.
Not to mention that the list is long as it is.
I had trouble cutting it down anyway, and I did drop some of them off of them, like Rocky Horror Picture Show and The Blob.
Now, why did you cut? Well, I guess I understand Rocky Horror Picture Show because that's more of a musical.
Well, it's still sci-fi.
Yeah, it is sci-fi. But why did you cut the Blob off of there?
Because I already had other 50s. I've got tons of 50s shows already there.
I got you, man. I got you.
It's hard to pick. I mean, there's just
I know. Look, I'm looking at IMDb right now. You're not going to believe what their number one is. This is the 50s and 60s list, and their number one is from 1954. If that's a hint for you.
Not Day the Earth Stood Still, is it? No, because
no, it's not. No. It's your beloved Kaiju.
Oh, it's Godzilla. Yeah. Although now this Well, let me get back to saying hi to the chat. So
Mhm.
we've got Penny and we've got Tim, and we've also got Anna McFusa, and who points out that was the wrong intro. Well,
No,
this is,
it was
this
the
is
right
his
intro.
show. I'm just
It was the correct intro. It's
Yeah.
just he's
the
not
wrong
here.
host. Yeah.
We're filling in.
And Christian Delorme is here. And bonjour, Christian. And we've also got Cam Camps. Cam Camps Crash Courses is here. Welcome. So anyway, to go back to my list, I did set some parameters on this. I kept it all in Western cinema.
Okay.
I didn't want anything because I could throw. You could get. You could
There's
start
a lot of
talking
them. I mean,
Godzilla.
I'm sure there's some British movies we could put in there
Well,
too.
I do have at least one British film on here. So
Okay.
and we'll get to it here. But yeah, so but anyway, but what exactly is a B movie?
Oh,
Well,
I don't know how you could define that
well,
as far as making
originally what a B movie was when the studio system started losing audience for their movies.
Mhm.
They started packaging their films and saying, well, if you want this A feature with these big stars, this AAA film, basically,
you've got to do a double feature with this one.
with the B feature.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so that's why now B feature back, is generally it means it is lower budget with less famous stars.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they're not famous stars, just less famous. But
right.
Now that was back then. Now it still can have big name stars in it, but it's still low budget. And also I think it's got to have some sort of cult status.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of
man. I don't know if you watch I don't know if you follow the trailer channels, the ones that do nothing but trailers. They'll have the newest trailers this week, right? And it'll be like a 20 to 30 minute video of all these different trailers. Half of them are B movies. Now, whether they're successful or not, it's another thing. Some of them may be going straight to DVD or whatever, and most of them are independents. But a lot of them that you see are sci-fi B movies, is what they are. Almost C-list.
Yeah. See, now that's those stuff like Sharknado and various movies like that. Stuff coming out of the asylum, the mockbusters, stuff like that. They're technically B movies, but I'd actually put them in their own category as like C movies.
Yeah.
Because B movies have to have some stuff going for it. It just can't be it's a low budget film.
So you say that the cult status is what really makes it a B movie.
Yeah, it's got to have some sort of popularity to it. See, now Sharknado I'd actually put back into the B category.
Of course,
because
there's some serious cult status there. There's people who love those shows. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I admit it. I've seen them all.
I admit it. I've never seen one, but
they're fun movies.
I understand. Yeah. You can't watch everything. Everybody's got different tastes, man. See, where you would watch all of that, you're gonna laugh at me, but I've seen every Jane Austen movie. Okay, I love period pieces, man. Yeah. I love that shit. I think it's awesome. Of course, I'm one of these guys that I'm a big James Bond fan. I'm a big guy about teaching young men to be men and stuff. And you see that in her writing. You see the bad guys and the good guys. It's subtle. It's not thrown in your face. I get into that kind of character study and things like that.
Oh yeah,
and that's my bread and butter. Where yours is the kaiju and
it's more than that. But this whole sci-fi.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
your individual pleasure that you really enjoy is stuff like B movies like this, and where I do something a little different. But I do like a good B movie. Trust me. There are some movies I could tell you about that we may not talk about today, but that I just adore, and they got 1 star that you've heard of in it, but they're dynamite, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
well, and Tim's correct. The films are paying homage to the B movies. they're made as the B movies were back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They're made to fit into that role.
Mm-hmm.
We have a super sticker from
and
Darius.
thank you, Darius. Appreciate the coffee.
What's up, Big Daddy?
Love that pair with the coffee. And
hate that I missed you Monday, but I was dying on Monday. That was my worst day right there.
Yeah.
I didn't do one of my shows, none of them.
Well, we ended up not doing it either because we didn't have Military Monday. So
really, so I didn't miss anything that morning. I know that. Well, he was on that 70s rock fan Monday, and I would have loved to talk about. Oh my God! Now I'm having a brain fart. The blues guitarist they were talking about, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Because Kenny Wayne Shepherd, the local guy here, that he's cut out of the same cloth. That's his hero, and so I would have loved to talk about that. But yeah, I was dying, Darius. I was dying on Monday. Thanks for the coffee sticker, man.
And we have
appreciate
a video. Thank you, video for Darius.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I had to miss that because I had my nephew's.
Amen.
JV Mondays are if
he's
they're
not
a
going
home
to be playing
game.
Football forever. You got to go, dude.
Nope. He's only going to be playing another after this year. It'll be another 2 years.
Yep.
Unless he plays like it.
Man, if he makes it in college, that'd be great, right? Yeah.
He's got to get a little more aggressive than he is.
Oh no. Okay. I got
you.
I understand.
He's such a nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
Back in when he was playing Pop Warner League, the youth league football, he was so much bigger than all the other kids. He was scared of hurting anybody. So he wouldn't, he would try not to hurt them. Well, in football, they're all padded up and in high school football, and they're looking to pound you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, I mean, he needs to get over that not really wanting to hurt people. Because he's a big
Lady
kid still. I mean, there's some bigger than him, but
Lady V was asking if I'm feeling better. Yes, I'm feeling better. And I did push through and do my show yesterday. Worry not. We did it yesterday. We had a good time too.
Oh, we had a blast. We got a whole new feature to do.
Yep. A lot of fun.
The knock list.
So fun. So much fun. All right. So what are we starting with? The 50s today, man?
No.
Before we begin, I have a fun fact.
Okay.
Here in Latin America, at least in Mexico and Venezuela, B movies or our movies are categorized by age. And A movies are movies for everyone. B movies is for 14 and on, and C movies are for 18. So to me, I'm learning new stuff with the real B movie category.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah,
by the way, Colossus, the Forbidden Project, does that?
Yeah, that's a B movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Without a doubt. It's just not on my list because I went through movies that this is kind of a personal list. These are the ones that I like. They're all classics. They're all ones people like, but they're ones that I have a special affinity for. Oh, and we got a
yeah, and he brings up a good one, man.
Yeah, Thing from Another World.
But that's not a B movie. That was a big time movie when it came.
Yeah, that
out.
was actually an A.
That was a Howard Hawks movie, who was a big time director at the time.
Yeah,
but Christian, you mentioned a good one. He says one of my favorite is The Thing from Another World that spawned the classic 1982 The Thing. Now, a little trivia about that movie, I'll tell you after Martin gives you a video.
Sounds awesome.
If you don't know this, I was blown away when I found it out myself, because that's one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, Christian. And the guy that plays the monster in The Thing from Another World is none other than Marshall Matt Dillon. James Arness played him. That's how he started in Hollywood, was playing Hollywood movie monsters because he was so big. And he is the Thing from Another World. He was a plant-based monster in that movie. He would grow back limbs when they cut him off and stuff like that. But the 1982 John Carpenter classic actually went back to the story that it's based on, which is called Who Goes There? It's a short story called Who Goes There? And the Thing, John Carpenter's Thing, follows that story a lot closer. The Thing could morph into anything it wanted to. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Love that one. Good choice there, buddy. But I hate to tell you, that's not a B movie. That was a big time movie when it came out.
Yeah.
Everybody in it was big time actors at the time. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it was actually packaged as an A feature.
Yep.
So it was, sent to the studios, and really by the 50s, they really stopped the packaging thing. Cause now I think about it, cause the studio system had crumbled by then and wasn't the juggernaut it was back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Right.
Post.
Look at this cover.
Tell Lady Muchos, that booty is the Thing from Another World.
Well, not on my list. I'm actually wearing a shirt for what would be considered a B movie.
Yeah, see, you think that's a B movie?
It falls under the category, but I mean, the people that are in it didn't get famous until after they were in that movie.
This is true, but I mean, it was a big production when it came out.
Yeah, but it wasn't considered like a AAA film.
No, it wasn't. You're right. Okay. I got that one kind of borderlines. It teeters on that edge there. Yeah.
Well, it's not on my list. I mean, it's not one of the ones I included in that category because it's too it's got mainstream popularity that's beyond cult status. So,
gotcha.
And welcome, Kay Roberts.
Hey, welcome. Always pleasure to see a new face.
Low mid production quality, but still, yeah, absolutely. Look, these guys that make these movies, first of all, it's a passion project for them because they're doing it with no money, damn near, when they make these movies, and they put their heart and soul into them. They really do. Don't. We're not talking about stuff that they just crank out for the sake of cranking something out like Disney does now. These guys, they actually want to make a great movie. They just can't. They don't have the Hollywood backing. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So yeah.
But we'll go ahead and get started. The first movie on my list is going to be, anybody that knows me, this is going to be absolutely of no surprise to anyone that this is on my list. And that is Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars. Oh, okay. So what
Start
is this?
with
We're doing the 80s ones? Or
well, I just put them on my list.
You went through all of the decades that you mentioned. Cool.
Yeah, 50s,
I like it, man.
Yeah,
that is cool.
I just kind of shotgunned everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great one.
So now, for those, this is probably the king of the B movies. This is probably, in my opinion, his best movie. There's some other.
You mean
arguments.
Roger Corman? Is that what you're talking about?
Roger Corman, king of the B movies.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen this, this is actually a space-based retelling of the Magnificent Seven, which in of itself is an Americanized version of the Seven Samurai. Right.
It's a classic story. You've seen it in many, many forms. Yes.
A disparate group of outlaws and normal folk get together to help save a village, basically.
But it actually has a pretty good cast, man. John Boy Walton is in this thing. He's the main character. Well, isn't George Papard and George
Papard, Robert Vaughn, who's actually this is a cool thing I like about this. Robert Vaughn is playing the exact same, not the same name, but he's playing the exact same character role that he played in the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, right. the slick dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's John Saxon's in it, George Papard,
John Boy Walton. I'll be damned. Unbelievable.
Sybil
His
Danning's
name's
in
Richard
this.
Thomas, but man,
Yeah.
everybody knows him as John Boy. That's
He's the lead of it.
Yep.
And so basically, he's in this. He's part of this small community that's getting threatened by these raiders that are all they've got them outgunned and outmatched. So basically, he sets out into the galaxy to find people to help defend the village.
That's it.
And he puts together this crew of completely different people. You've got Cowboy, who's basically a space trucker. You've got
that's Papard, right? Yeah,
George Papard. You've got Robert Vaughn, who is the former assassin that is at the end of his life, and he's he's realized that he's basically the old man trying to get to heaven.
Yeah, that's it.
You got Sybil Danning, who is a Valkyrie type alien,
right?
That all she wants to do is die in glorious battle.
Right.
You've got a pair of alien, or a set of alien twins that generate heat, but they're I don't know how else to describe them, but yeah, you've got all these different people, and they get together to fight this battle and fight off the villain, who's played by John Saxon.
I have the idea that Charles Dance was in this movie.
That who?
I don't know why. Charles Dance.
No, he wasn't in this.
Which would?
Yeah, another thing B movies will have is aging stars.
Oh, no doubt. That is a definite component of the B movie. No doubt. Yep.
So this is first on my list for obvious reasons. I'm a big Roger Corman fan. I've seen pretty much every movie he's done. In fact, there might be another stealth Roger Corman movie on here. So,
good morning, Ariel.
Maybe.
Morning, Ariel. Thank you for following me. She followed me on YouTube the other day. So,
you go, girlfriend.
Yep.
They're not talking about me. I don't need help getting into heaven. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a good guy.
Yep. Okay. Now, from the same year, because this came out, Battle Beyond the Stars came out in 1980.
Yep.
We're actually going to the final countdown.
Oh, let me tell you something. Oh, God, I'm going to enjoy this, dude.
Nice.
I'm going to enjoy
Love
this.
that
is
movie.
such a great movie, man. I actually watched part of it the other day. It was on one of the, I think it was one of the channels on Pluto. It was on one of those. And man, what a great movie. I believe this is one of the last movies Kirk Douglas was in before he had a stroke, I think. Wasn't he in this as the commander of the aircraft carrier?
Yeah, he's the captain of the aircraft carrier.
I'm a big fan of the Douglases, man. Mike and his daddy Kirk.
Yep.
And
now this, you got to remember, this Kirk Douglas was an aging star at this.
Yes,
point.
he was. That's the aging star of this movie, no doubt. Yes.
And Martin Sheen is in this. He's the big name.
Yeah.
Catherine Ross is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Cunningham.
Yep.
So yeah,
what a great premise.
Yeah.
What a great
story.
premise. Oh, the story is so great. It really is.
Yes.
The story is a modern American aircraft carrier goes through a time portal and gets thrown back to 1941, just hours before Pearl Harbor. And they've got to decide whether they're going to get involved and stop Pearl Harbor and change history, or let it happen and see about getting back home.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great premise because look, the thing, the chord that it plucks on is the the national pride thing, because man, wow. I mean, because they're at the end, they decide they're going to go ahead and defend friggin' Hawaii, and it's so much fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
The decisions they have to make and stuff, and oh man, it's so great. Yeah, Martin Sheen's like this reporter that's on board, isn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
No,
when it happens, and yeah,
He was, I think he was one of the employees of the company.
he either
that
works for the
built
government doing
that-
an audit or something, or he's a
no.
reporter. It's been a while
Uh,
since I've seen it, but
he-
he's
he
not
was
military
sent-
personnel.
He was sent on that voyage by the CEO of the company that built the Nimitz.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Built the tech that is what sent them back in time.
Yeah.
This movie, I love this movie. It
Oh,
has
it's
one of the
fantastic,
best
man.
time mechanics that I have seen on
My
screen.
internet's still playing. But yeah, it's, if you haven't seen it, it's a very good movie.
Those effects for the time it was made looked really cool. When
yeah.
they went through, when they traveled through time, it was one of the coolest things, man. Really, it was.
Hey, Jim Watari, good to see you.
Yeah. Now I will admit, this list is kind of heavy on the 1980s and 1950s.
Yeah.
It's heavy on the 1950s because 1950s was
It was a heyday for them.
Was the golden age of B movies.
Yes. This was like the 80s was like a renaissance of it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It was all,
Mhm.
Yeah. Granted, there's been B movies since then,
Mhm.
but they haven't hit the same levels that they were and the same cult status that a lot of these movies are as the 80s did.
Yeah.
So you could, because like Sharknado is a 2000 something movie.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they're still making B movies today. It's just they're not.
Don't know where they what ship they filmed this on. I really don't know, Ariel. I can. If only there a way that we could. Look
I
up
don't
things.
think it was the Nimitz though.
Let's see.
However, those Tomcats are from the BF-86, I think.
Oh, it might actually filmed on the Nimitz, because back then the Navy would have looked at this as like good propaganda for them, as a recruiting.
It wasn't.
That's why a lot of times the military is keen to work
It
with.
says set
Hollywood.
and filmed aboard the Nimitz.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
well,
It must have been on like less.
say.
It must have been in like some sort of cruise or something where it's not deployed.
the F-14s that we see in the movie has the markings of.
Yeah, they do have the markings, but then again, I mean, I thought that was just repainted. So,
Oh yeah.
but if they're using actual Tomcats from the Nimitz,
Dude, and that's my favorite plane. I guess because of
Yes.
Top
Oh,
Gun,
yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
man, those
Which is-
variable geometry wings are just badass. They are.
which is definitely not a B movie.
No, definitely not. This one is.
Okay. Well,
I've always thought of this one and the Philadelphia Experiment as being about the same class.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Philadelphia Experiment is actually a little less budget than this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's basically a similar premise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's where the Nimitz is the ship that the Tic Tac video came from, which is the UFO video that the Navy showed. Said, "Yeah,
Yep.
we don't know what this is."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the next film on my list is we're continuing. The first four are going to be in the 80s, and then we'll start heading back to the
Go,
classics.
man. I like what you're putting out so far.
The
Go.
Last Starfighter.
Oh. That may be the first use of any form of CGI in a film. I don't know if you'd call that CGI, but the special effects were definitely.
Tron actually.
No, you think Tron? Yeah,
Tron was 82.
yeah, definitely.
Actually,
special effects.
the first use of computer graphics in a film was 1950 50 something, where a computer generated the background of a set of titles.
Really? Huh.
I can't remember I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember the film.
But if you guys ever see this movie, you'll see it looks a lot different from most films of the time. It looks a lot different.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's better or worse, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool, sleek look to it, man.
I think the ship design still holds up today.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool. Yep. Oh my God, one of the greatest actors ever as the guy that recruits him. Oh my God, that guy is awesome. He's been in so many great movies. Yeah, that's a great one. And I've got to look this up. The girl, I was in love with the girl that played his girlfriend. Oh my gosh. Wasn't she in Night of the Comet too? She was only in a couple of movies back then, but God, she was gorgeous. I loved her. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, Robert Preston is played Centauri.
Yeah. Let's see.
Catherine Mary Stewart.
That's it. Catherine Mary Stewart. She's a babe. She is a babe. No doubt about it. Love it. Robert Preston has been in so many good movies. I mean, how many decades was he in movies? The first one, wasn't it The Music Man, the musical he was in the 50s, I think?
Yep.
And, of course, my favorite movie with him in it is probably S.O.B. He made a few movies with Blake Edwards. S.O.B.'s a great one. And Victor Victoria, of course, everybody remembers him from that flick. I mean, he's fantastic.
But
Guy's
again,
great.
He's another aging star.
Another aging star. Yeah, he was done with all that by then. Yeah.
And several unknowns. Yep. Unfortunately, not a lot of the people in this movie ever did much.
No, they didn't.
They were,
like I said, the girl Catherine. I remember in I guess you'd consider that a B movie. Night of the Comet.
I didn't put it on the list, but it's definitely a B movie.
Yeah. That's the only other movie I ever saw her in. She really didn't become famous or anything. But what a great movie. Guy playing a video game gets recruited to save the galaxy, man. Yep. Very cool.
Before Gran Turismo, where a guy playing a video game gets recruited onto a racing team.
Yeah.
We had a guy saving the galaxy, which is much
That's it. That's
or Ender's Game.
Well, Ender's Game is definitely the same theme, but I like this one better. I like this one better because this guy really didn't know what he was getting into. No,
he just thought he was trying to beat the high score.
He was trying to beat the high score in a video game, and just the whole thing about it, man. The whole I can't remember all the lingo from it, but I loved the ship, and I mean all the things. The breakdown of the ship. What I thought was cool was when he was training him to use it, the Death Blossom move that the thing would do, and all that stuff. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I was one of these geeks that fucking collected blueprints of these ships and stuff. You know, before the internet, when you could look stuff up, we used to actually buy them, and I had the Millennium Falcon. The Enterprise. I mean, all my favorite ships and movies, I always bought them. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the cool thing, this video game, people have actually made the video game.
Have they? Because they show it. They show you see on there. It's what I call a first person shooter kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you're actually firing this thing with the scope and everything. It's just like in the movie. Yeah. That'd be cool to play something like that.
Yeah.
That would be really
and they
cool.
actually rebuilt the cabinet and everything. And there's that's like a hobby. This is big enough that big enough movie that people, when you mentioned The Last Starfighter, people know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. They know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, it's amazing that none of these guys, Nick Castle directed it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Nick Castle is one of those guys that went to school with John Carpenter. I'm pretty sure he is.
I think he's in the Carpenter. I think
he's one of that bunch. There's about 4 guys that went to school together and ended up making movies together. Dan O'Bannon's another one. Yeah, I think he's one of the guys that worked on. Remember the movie they made in college? They ended up extending it and making it a full feature. Dark Star.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the guys in that movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
great stuff.
He's in that group with with John Carpenter. Yeah. So, and it, there's a reason why those movies pretty much own the 80s as far as B movies were concerned.
Yeah.
And please, if people in the chat, in your audience, if you haven't seen Dark Star, go and
watch Dark
that
Star.
movie.
It is a joy. It is so great.
By the way, we have
K. Roberts.
we have people in Rumble saying their
Oh.
hellos. Yes. we
Hello.
have Funk Junk 420.
Awesome name.
I won't infer nothing about that name.
Oh, no, there's
and
nothing about that
he-
name that's strange. Or
And he says, "Wow, some throwbacks." Yes,
Yeah, big time, man.
oh,
This is
we're about to get more even further back.
big time. Yeah.
Well,
These
our
are
next-
gems that those of us that have been science fiction fans for a long time really love, but some people may have never, especially if you're under the age of 40, you may have never heard of these movies, man.
Yep.
But they're great. You need to go watch them. They're really fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, Ariel, but it's your loss.
All right. You're missing out. These are some really
Look at
great
this.
movies.
She's trolling us, man. She's trolling us. She's in
I know
trolling
she
mood
is.
this morning.
Yeah, she is. She always is.
Yep.
Next up is a little gem. Came out in 1981 called The Road Warrior.
Little gem called
Oh.
The Road Warrior. It was actually Mad Max 2.
Yep.
But
it was
in
a
the United
sequel-
States, it was called The Road Warrior. And you didn't even have to see Mad Max 1 to enjoy
Nope.
this flick.
Yeah.
You really didn't. Because in each Mad Max chapter, he went further and further away from society because society hadn't fully broken down yet in the first one. He
No.
was still a cop. It was a revenge story more than anything. And in this one, he's kind of the guy with no name. They know
Yeah.
his name, but what a great freaking movie. George
he
Miller
feels
at the
that-
height of his powers. Yes.
Oh yeah,
I love
definitely.
it.
And
And yes, a lot of people say this is a B movie. Yes, it was. If you've ever seen the original Mad Max with if you've seen the original one, they dubbed Mel Gibson's voice. That's how bad that movie is, production wise. It's
Yeah.
really, the action sequences are really well crafted and everything, but the rest of the movie, you want to talk about bad, just bad production value. The original Mad Max is bad, but this one here, this is when George Miller really hit his
Bad
stride.
production value. It's not a bad movie.
No,
no,
it's not a bad movie. I'm just saying the production value was bad in the first Mad Max movie.
yeah,
Really bad.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But it had a freaking awesome car.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, the
That Interceptor was badass. Yes, it was.
God bless.
The Holden Interceptor. Man,
Mhm.
that's
But
that's
this
a hard,
one-
that's a hard car to get imported to the
This
US
is
too.
this is the same man with no name construct.
Yeah.
He's just trying to make his way through the world, and there's a group of people that need his help, and at first he doesn't want to help them,
Yeah.
and turns out he gets his back against the wall and he has to help them.
This
And
is
it's-
a
and it's-
post-apocalyptic Western.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
This is it. If you're a
Oh,
fan
the
of the Clint
Hills.
Eastwood Man with No Name movies, you will love this flick. It is great.
I'll tell you something. In each and every racing game that I have, if I have that car, I have it always in two versions.
Yep.
As the Interceptor, the black Interceptor, and the yellow one.
Yep.
When I was in the Army, I was on a place called Johnston Island. We started off with just a platoon of military police there. Well, they had increased it to a company because they were going to start building this system to start breaking down all those chemical weapons I was guarding, right? And they had us come up with a nickname for each one of our platoons. Well, ours was the Road Warriors, and I actually, I've been doing art all my life. I did a banner for the hallway down our dorms. And it was Max sitting there with the friggin' standing in the middle of the road with the shot, the scatter gun on his shoulder,
Yeah. For some reason it won't let
dude.
me open up any other windows. It just comes out.
It just won't let you.
Yeah.
Look at this.
So everyone is into BDSM and the nuclear holocaust. It's not, I don't think it was a nuclear holocaust. This is more like an energy thing.
Yeah.
they ran out of
Yeah,
gas.
it was because this
This is back when we thought
Mad-
fossil fuels weren't going to last forever.
right.
And,
Mad
yeah.
Max was came out in 78. I think so. I think it's 78.
I think they did have a war though, but it was after he left the city. I think
it was a war for resources.
Resources, and I think
Because-
nukes were used, but it's not a big prevalent thing in the movie.
No.
Of nuclear fallout or anything. It's more of a resource war. But the thing is, Max, because of what happens in the first movie, he wants to get away from society. He can't deal with them anymore. He finds that he does better on his own. And this movie is the first movie when he's outside the city. You see him leaving the city at the end of Mad Max. And dude, great stuff.
This was
a war for leather. That's it. No, it's all about fuel in this one. If you've got the juice, yeah.
It's all about gasoline.
What did the Lord Humongous say? Just walk away. Just walk away. Yeah. Because they had the oil pump. Yeah, they wanted it. Yep. Very cool stuff.
But so I mean, this is the movie that everybody thinks of when you say post-apocalyptic movie.
Yep. And the great thing about it is, one, it put Mel Gibson on the map. Mad Max didn't even put him on the map. This one did. That people recognized him after this movie. The other thing about it is, and I've preached this for years, it's the reason why when they went from Pierce Brosnan in the Bond films to Daniel Craig, they had gone too CGI heavy with the Pierce Brosnan movies, and they went back to practical effects with real stuntmen. Well, that you want to see fantastic work with practical effects and real stuntmen, watch this flick. There is a wreck in this where you see a guy going head over feet, and it actually happened to him, and he broke several bones doing it.
Yep.
It was a complete accident, and they filmed it and they kept it in the movie. It's just amazing the stuff they did with this flick. It's fantastic.
Well, a bit of trivia about the first movie: Toe Cutter, would come back later to play Immortan Joe.
Yes, he did play Immortan Joe, didn't he? Yep.
Same actor.
I'm
not sure I don't think they're the same character.
They're not.
No,
they're
it's
not.
a little hard for
he
them
killed
to
the
be
toe
the same
cutter.
character. Yeah,
he killed
it's a little hard for that to happen. So
yep.
So anyway, so that's going to be not really our last 1980s movie, but it's going to be the last one for a little while.
Yeah.
Now we're stepping back into the 70s.
I like your list so far, man. I'm digging it.
1971.
I haven't seen nothing yet.
A Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Wow. Now this movie, let me tell you, this one, I wow.
Yep.
I can't watch this movie very often. I really can't. You have to be in the right mindset to watch this.
It's a hard watch.
Yeah, it is.
Even though it was directed by Stanley Kubrick, it was still considered a B movie because it wasn't.
Well, first of all, the subject matter was really bizarre.
Yeah.
Secondly, it was a bunch of actors you didn't know. You didn't know who these guys were.
It's not that bizarre. It's the government trying to condition people
now
to behave.
Now it's not so bizarre. At the time, it was, brother.
Yeah,
it was very bizarre.
It took its cues from 1984. Obviously, it definitely has that same dystopian. Oppressive government feel.
We almost saw Darth Vader there.
Also, this. I was wanting to stop that. It didn't stop. This also movie when this movie came out, it was rated X.
Yeah, it was rated X.
Oh yeah, and it
has a pretty vicious rape scene in it. So
that's why.
Yeah,
and I think Stanley didn't want to get released.
Compromise. He didn't want to compromise it. He wanted to.
No, he didn't want it to be released because before the release, he started to receive hate mail and death threats.
Yeah.
So he abandoned the UK to go to the States, and that's when the movie was released.
Yep.
And it took a long time to come from the UK to the States.
Now, this movie takes place in Great Britain, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a British film.
Yeah. It's been a
The
long
act-
time since I've seen it. This is one I don't revisit, man. It's wow. Whew, it's rough.
I do
It's one
probably about every 8 to
daughter
10
who has
years.
the same love of films as I do. This is in her top 5 all time. She loves this.
Now, if you think the movie is difficult, you should try the freaking book with
Oh yeah,
all the Russian slang in it.
Oh, yeah?
Anthony Burgess's novel A Clockwork Orange it's a slog. It's a good
Yeah.
book, but it's a slog. Also,
Ambush.
I've actually dressed up as Alex before for Halloween.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple costume. But anyway, turning our attention, we're actually going to go back to the 50s now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a little bit of the old ultraviolence.
I love Malcolm McDowell, by the way, before you get out of there.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Going back to Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Old school greatness.
Old
Yes.
school. Pretty much the
Shouldn't go back to that. It's forbidden.
Leslie Nielsen, when he was
yeah.
not a comedian yet. Yeah.
Nope.
He was a serious actor back
Yeah,
then.
he was a leading man type.
Yep.
But this film is pretty much the father of modern sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
You know, just the way it was filmed, the way it was written, and you know, a lot of the characterization. You can trace a direct line from Robbie to C-3PO.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Robbie the Robot, I mean, well shoot, he ended up in Lost in Space too, you know.
Yes.
Same robot. So
Yeah.
very cool stuff, man. I'm gonna run get some coffee real
Okay.
quick, guys.
But
I'll be
yeah,
right
this
back.
had like I said, Leslie Nielsen was in it. It's got
Yes, Leslie Nielsen, when he was a serious, well, I mean, he's always been a serious actor, but he hadn't really explored his comedic chops until Airplane, and then it went off the chain. But he was a leading man
War
back then.
Monkey.
Yep. Let's see.
Welcome back, War Monkey. We've been missing you.
Unbelievable. I still have a Sith Lord as my avatar. I'm never letting Knock run my channel ever again.
yeah,
Yikes. Let's see if I can fix that real quick.
Darth Joe. But yeah, this had some like I said, Robbie the Robot has been in a ton of movies
Oh yeah,
over the years.
movies and TV shows.
Yeah, he was actually in Wald's. If you look, he's in the background of the Park Shop
On Watto's
in Phantom Menace. He's in he's representing heavy metal. He was on Mork and
I
Mindy.
don't remember it in Gremlins.
Yep, he was in Gremlins.
What have you done to me? Now I have to rewatch all that movie just to hunt for Robbie the Robot.
He was in Art 2, which was a Saturday morning live action show about a post-apocalyptic vehicle that was running through the wastelands, and he had like a family on board that lived there. Something I watched. Believe it or not, he was on the Addams Family. Twilight Zone.
Darius Munchausen says this. C-3PO is the son of Robbie the Robot and Maria Diamond's Machine from Metropolis.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, so Robbie has been in a lot of stuff. This is the next one from the 50s. And that is Fantastic Voyage.
freaking love that movie.
Fantastic Voyage. If you haven't seen it, it is it's about a guy that's sick, and in order to cure him, they shrink the ship down and inject it into his blood.
Right, but I believe it's a senator or somebody of some prominence.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not somebody, not just some guy, but
right. Yeah,
Is it
what a
the
great
Indian
movie this
ambassador
is, man.
for the
actually,
UN,
I think he's a scientist.
Is he a scientist? I thought he was like a politician or something.
He's like an important scientist, but he has like knowledge that they need, so they can't lose him. And he's got a blood clot in his brain.
Yeah.
So basically, they shrink down this submarine and inject it into the bloodstream, and it goes through, and they fight all sorts, germs and white blood cells.
Yeah, it is the science behind this is pretty cool, man. It really is.
This movie has a spin-off animated series. And
really?
Yes. And it's the inspiration for Inner Voyage.
Yeah. Inner Space.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the inspiration for that movie. Yeah. Also, another movie that a television show I think it was an inspiration for, just because of the shrink tech kind of thing, was Land of the Giants. I see a lot of similarities between that and this. If you ever watched Land of the Giants, their use of small stuff, big scale things, it's pretty cool.
And we have a connection point here. On Inner Space, the villain is Vernon Wells, who is one of the villains of Road Warrior.
Yep. But this has Donald Pleasance in it.
Yep, Donald Pleasance.
Kel Welch.
We were just talking about him the other day, weren't we, John? How he was in a lot of movies before Halloween. A lot of people don't even know it. Yeah.
The now this one I hesitated because this is like on the borderline of a B movie. Because this does have some big name stars in it. Mm-hmm. But then again,
it's got the cult status thing, though. I'd watch this today. And I really think if you watch it and consider the time that movie was made, it's got some great special effects in it, man. It really does.
James Brolin.
It's got Josh Brolin's dad.
Yes. James Brolin. I was a fan of his. I was a fan of James Brolin my whole life. I mean, my favorite James Brolin movie is Capricorn 1, hands down. That's the best James Brolin movie ever, man. Yeah, but he was in a lot of westerns too.
James Doohan's in this.
Really?
Yep. He plays a small role. He's one of the scientists.
No shit. Wow. Scotty.
Yeah. Well, now we actually go back to the 80s.
Okay.
Because I can't stay out of the 80s for too long.
You can't stay out of the 80s.
And we're also going to go back to John Carpenter. Carpenter.
Uh-oh.
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. Thought you were dead. I heard you were dead. That is a great movie. Now, do yourself a favor. Don't ever watch the sequel.
No, Escape from L.A.
This is a fantastic movie. It really is.
The only thing you need to watch from Escape from L.A. is the surfing scene.
The surfing scene is
everything else you can not worry about. Just look it up on YouTube. It's the corniest thing you'll ever see, but you got to at least see it.
Well, it's got B movie status because Dean Stockwell's in this, right?
Oh,
Or not? No, Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton. That's it. Yeah, he's the brain in it, right?
Yep.
And Donald Pleasance, there he is again. He plays the president. Yep.
Ernest Borgnine, Isaac Hayes is in this.
Yep.
Adrienne Barbeau. Oh,
Duke. Oh my God, Adrienne Barbeau.
End of discussion.
Guys, I don't know if we can possibly ever convey how gorgeous that chick was.
Oh,
I mean,
what?
And she was married. She was married to John at the time. Well, I mean, to people that have never watched her on television, what was it? Maude? Wasn't that the series she was on?
I think it was Maude. Yeah.
Wasn't she she was Maude's daughter or something like that? And then she was in a couple of John's movies because they were married at the time, and The Fog and this one, and
that's something. I think.
Yeah, she was in Swamp Thing, but I don't think John made that movie. I don't
No,
think
that's
he
not a
made
John
that one.
Carpenter film.
But she only made a few movies. She didn't make many.
Yeah.
She was more on television. But God, that girl was gorgeous. Good
Oh, yeah.
Lord. Wow.
Yeah, she
Still
was.
is.
And
Yeah,
this is Kurt Russell before he became the huge megastar it would eventually become.
Yep.
You know, he was still shaking off his Disney past at this point.
Yes, he was. He was trying to play tough guy roles. He really
Yep.
was. He was trying to break out of that Medfield college thing, with all this, the Computer Wars tennis shoes, the strongest man in the world stuff, Because he did come up. He's one of the few. You hear all these stories about these kids that are child stars that end up growing up and becoming really messed up people. Well, him and Ron Howard really, and they both were veterans of the Andy Griffith Show. Both of them were on that show when they were kids, and both of those guys ended up having great careers. Of course, he never got into directing like Ron did, but man, they did really well. And I think that speaks a lot to their parents, the way they raised them. You know what I mean? We see what happens when the kids don't pay attention to them, with the Coreys.
Ariel wants to know if Top Secret qualifies as a B movie.
Oh, yeah. But it's not a sci-fi movie. It's a spy.
That's a B movie, but it's
a B.
Not sci-fi.
B movies don't have to be sci-fi. There's sci-fi. There's B movie. There's B westerns. Also called spaghetti westerns. But the spaghetti westerns are the ones specifically from Italy, or directed by Italian directors, like Sierra Leone. You've also got B horror movies like Night of the Living Dead. I almost put Night of the Living Dead on here, but I'm like, no, let's keep it to sci-fi.
Yeah.
I was getting too close with one.
That's got a little bit of sci-fi to it. The first one has a little bit of sci-fi to it because you actually see the news reports trying to explain the whole thing. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've seen it, but didn't they mention a meteor coming in to start the whole storyline? Yeah. I think that's where Night of the Comet got its inspirations. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Disney. Yeah, he was a part of the Disney. He was the Mickey Mouse Club. He was just like Britney and all them. I guess the most famous one that's out there today is probably Zendaya that came up through that Disney system.
Justin Timberlake.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Annette Funicello. This was back in the 50s. You had Annette Funicello.
Right.
He was in the 60s. He was like the second generation of the Mickey Mouse Club.
The Mickey Mouse Club, yeah. He started them in the club, and he made. Dude, I highly recommend his Disney movies. They were fantastic. Oh, yeah. It was a group of guys at a local college that kept getting in trouble doing crazy experiments. It was fantastic, man.
Oh yeah,
they were great stuff. Yeah,
they were.
But he's right. To his point, this was him trying to break that mold and get into mainstream movies. And what a great way to start it off, man. I mean, Snake Plissken. You could tell just by the way they were talking about this guy that he was a bad son of a bitch, and the eye patch didn't hurt either. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. This was definitely his original tough guy role.
And the great thing about this movie, much like all the rest of John's movies, there is no wasted motion. There's no slow point to the movie. It's only an hour and a half long, and it gets right to the point and gets after it, man.
It gets where it's going as quickly as it can, and it's a wild ride on the way.
Yep, show is. Escape from New York.
Ooh, we're going to go to the 60s now.
Okay.
To 1968.
The
Vietnam War.
My brother was born. Yes.
I got the height of the Vietnam War. My dad was still stationed over there at the time.
My dad was at Keesler in Biloxi. I was 3. I was 3 years old. 3 years old.
I was negative. Old. I was -2. So this is, keep in mind that's the time frame, because we're talking 60s. We're in the middle of the space race. We're fighting against Russia, trying to get the moon first.
Yep.
And the next movie on our list is Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, a classic.
You're gonna see several Charlton Heston films on here because Charlton Heston was the king.
He was the king
of the 60s and 70s of the 70s B movies.
Mhm. Yep.
And
And
I've
this is
got
this is well after his stint as Moses.
yes.
Okay,
Oh
this is
yeah.
well after that.
Yeah, he's on the downhill decline of his
Yeah.
career. That's
And
why
this
he's
really
doing movies like
rejuvenated
this.
his career, man.
Oh yeah.
It really did.
Some of my favorite sci-fi movies from the 60s and 70s were Charlton Heston films.
Yep.
And
Now, very rarely
all three on this list.
do the B movies win Academy Awards.
Yes.
But this one did, and rightly so, for the prosthetics they used to make the apes. They could emote. It was a great makeup job they did on these apes. It was amazing. I mean, I think it still stands up today as one of the greatest makeup jobs ever.
It
You know,
does.
and you can recognize the actors. Malcolm McDowell's one of them. And you recognize it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Kim Hunter.
Oh, Roddy McDowell. I said Malcolm.
Roddy McDowell. Yeah, Malcolm.
The
not
brothers,
Roddy.
you know, hey, they look alike. I mean,
Can you imagine Malcolm McDowell doing
right?
Cornelius, Psycho Cornelius,
right?
Yeah, and like I said, Charlton Heston was on the downside of his career, so we've got Kim Hunter, who was relatively unknown at the time. We've got Roddy McDowell, who's a British actor, not known in the United States.
James Whitmore.
Whitmore.
God, he was in that movie. Yeah. Classic Western guy. He ended up in this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, so this spawned
it had 4 sequels.
4 sequels.
This particular series had 4 sequels. Yeah.
An animated show.
An animated show.
Yep.
And 2 separate reboots.
Two
and
reboots.
I think comic books too.
Yeah, there were comic books.
Oh, I'm sure there was comic books.
Planet of the Apes was huge back in the late 60s, early 70s.
Was. In the 70s, the early 70s. I remember because I believe the whole thing, there was a nuclear war, I think. They talk about the atomics and stuff like that. And,
well,
it's got the iconic ending scene. The ending scene of it is just...
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, trust me, you've seen it before. And if you watch this for the first time and see the ending, you'll be like, "That's what that is. That's why they show that all the time." You know,
that's why you get that reference. Yeah. So
it's very cool.
There's actually a cult that worships a nuclear missile in one of these.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I think it's beneath the Planet of the Apes. I think.
Yeah, beneath the Planet of the Apes. They're humans that are hiding under the rubble of a city.
Yep.
And they're underground, and they worship the last active nuclear weapon.
Now the reboots. Not everybody's a big fan of the Tim Burton one. I
kind of did.
The ending is shit, but most of the movie I enjoyed.
Cool.
I thought it was
actually liked the ending. I thought the ending was different. Well, instead of coming back and thinking he's going home, he actually goes back in time.
Yeah.
So
to an alternate timeline.
To an alternate timeline. Yeah, where apes were actually the dominant species.
I guess it was okay, but I tell you what, I was pleasantly surprised by this last series of them.
Yes, I love these 3 last ones. I love.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is just the
whole Caesar storyline is awesome. Yeah. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I really did. It was awesome.
However, my blood got to boiling point in the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess there's no spoiling at this point, but how the hell did they kill Caesar in that way? Man, I was
because the next movie's about his son Cornelius.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing I dug, my favorite one was the first one. You know, I think it was called Rise. Is that what it was? Rise the Planet?
Rise was the second.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the first one, but the whole
Planet
thing.
Of the Apes, I think.
No, there's
Rise.
It's
not Planet of the Apes.
There's Rise, something, and War of the Planet of the Apes.
I can't remember, but the one
can't remember either.
That's got James Franco in it as the scientist trying to,
Abraham Lincoln.
I thought that was hilarious.
Abraham Lincoln, yeah. I thought it was a neat way, to modernize the story, having the scientist trying to cure his dad, of Alzheimer's. I thought that was really cool, man. I thought it was a great way to do it. But
the only thing about the only thing about that's bad that's not really bad, but just kind of about the Tim Burton one, is the whole sexual tension between Sarah and Mark Wahlberg. I mean, I'm like,
come on now.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're gonna bang a monkey. Yeah,
interspecies dating? I don't think so.
She's got the hots for you. Okay,
that's it, Ariel. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's the name of it. Yes,
it's Dawn Rise and
Franco. Yes, and I thought that was a great take on it because John Lithgow, who I love, played the dad. Yeah. And wow, what a great story! I thought it was fantastic. Really did.
All right, well, let's move along to our next movie because we're down to an hour. A little over.
The most famous line in Planet of the Apes history, though, that's when, because when they first get him, I think they called him Bright Eyes, right? Isn't that what they called Charlton Heston?
Because he had blue eyes.
The line that everybody remembers, because his throat was hurt when they first got him, is whenever he's in that net and he yells at him, says, "Get your hands off me,
get your paws off me, you damn dirty ape."
Yeah, that's it. Wow, freaked them all out, man. And they've reused that line several times.
Well, we're going to the 70s now, but we're going to stay with Charlton Heston because we've got Soylent Green.
Soylent Green. It's people. It's people.
Yep, it's
people.
You'll find I like a lot of dystopian movies.
Hey, man, that's a good one.
Well, we live in those dystopias right now. So,
at this point, Soylent Green is going to be bugs right now, but it could end up being people eventually.
We're not there now, but it's one of those where you can see how we get there.
Yeah.
That's what's scary about it.
Food crisis. Can't feed everybody. Yep.
So they have to come up with a way, and there's too many people on the planet.
Yep.
And it's too hot. And it's there's all sorts of stuff going on that just leads to the breakdown of society.
Mm-hmm.
So
hey, Alex,
they have basically suicide centers where when you get old, you don't want to live anymore. You just basically they have this nice peaceful video, serene setting, and they just put you to sleep. Well, what you don't know is they take those people they put to sleep, send them to a factory, and turn them into Soylent Green.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a sci-fi movie, young lady.
Yes, it's sci-fi.
I'm just answering her real quick. Sorry. Go ahead, John.
Well, it's also aliens, or it's also horror. Yeah. It can be considered horror.
It could be, yeah. But at its roots, it's a sci-fi movie. Yeah.
I have it categorized as sci-fi, alien invasion, horror.
Yeah. A movie can have more than one genre attached to it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did I just see Charlton Heston beating up the rifleman? Did I just see that?
Yeah. You just saw Charlton Heston beating up the rifleman. But yeah, this movie had Chuck Connors in it, had Charlton Heston, Edward G. Robinson at the end of his career.
Edward G. Robinson. He must have been an old man when he was in this.
He's the old man. He's Saul. Mm-hmm. He's the old man, the old Jewish guy that befriends Charlton Heston's character and is, that Charlton Heston's like kind of protecting. Brock Peters is in this. You may know him as Sisko's dad from Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
Let's see who else is in this.
Dick Van Patten. He must have been on every TV show back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, so this is so we had there's Edward G. Robinson right there.
Yep.
Doesn't even look like Scarface. It's
no.
He's
an old man in this movie. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's a good movie. That's one of the better post-apocalyptic movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Charlton Heston was the king of them. He was.
Well, it's not really. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's dystopian.
Well, it's dystopian.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
You could say mid-apocalyptic.
Right in
Yeah,
the middle of the apocalypse.
Well, yeah, society's actually breaking down at this point, so
Yeah.
it's in the apocalypse, but it's early in it, and it hasn't gotten to
Right.
you know.
And now we humans were processing dead people not because they were evil or immoral. At that point the only source of food was plankton, and they had just discovered that plankton was dying too.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So they switched it to humans and
Wow.
add a little green number 3, and we're all set.
Soylent
Soylent food and green. That's bad.
Oh man.
Well, we're going to go back to the 80s.
Of course, we live in the 80s. We only divert here and there.
To the movie that has the greatest fight scene of all time about absolutely nothing. John Carpenter's They Live.
They Live. John Carpenter once again with the B movie.
And
that
another movie that predicted society today.
The future. Yeah.
We don't have the aliens that we know of.
No, but we
that
definitely got the
things.
subliminal messaging and all that stuff.
And the whole it echoed the whole corporate culture.
Consume,
obey, reproduce.
I'll actually be using a clip from this to open my show tonight because, it's the Backup Hackers tonight. And I always show that clip where they're watching the TV and that one guy that you see at the beginning of it in the homeless place goes, "Damn hackers. That's the second time tonight they've done that, Love this movie. It's great.
Roddy Piper.
This has the wrestler Roddy Piper in it.
Yeah, I think it's the only movie he was ever in as a leading guy.
No,
Hell Comes to Frogtown. Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Okay, all right, I'll have to check that out because that was a big Roddy.
Keith David's in this.
Yes, Keith David.
Him and Roddy's the ones that have the fight, and it's if nothing, you have to watch it this is a fantastic movie otherwise, but that fight scene over putting on a pair of sunglasses.
It's one of the longest fight scenes you'll ever see. And definitely, I don't know this for sure, but I'd have to guess that Roddy had a lot to do with the choreography because there's a lot of wrestling moves in it. And I mean, I've always said if guys really did this to each other and, things they do in a wrestling ring to each other on cement, you would really get hurt. And they do some of it in that fight scene. It's like, how in the fuck are these guys getting up? They beat the hell out of each other. But Keith David, every great director has a core group of supporting actors they love to use. And John Carpenter dug Keith David. He used him a lot in his movies.
And Keith David is great.
Yeah, he is. He's awesome.
Yep. And this has Meg Foster in it, who has the most haunting and amazing eyes of the time frame.
Crystal blue, just scary, piercing eyes. They're both gorgeous and kind of intimidating, kind of scary.
Which is why after this, she would get cast as Evil Lynn.
Yep.
In Master of the Universe.
Yes. Faux show.
So but this is a really good movie. It's about, it's about revolution.
Scroll back up real quick. Peter Jason is another guy that I don't think ever got enough credit for the roles he played in movies.
He's a character actor you see in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Time frame.
Peter Jason's awesome. Yep. Mm-hmm. But it's a great story. It's a great, and once again, it's probably about an hour and a half long. Most of John Carpenter's movies are short. If you want to watch his whole library, it'll take half as long as it will other directors. But great stuff, man. And some of the, like John said, most of the ideas in it, they're coming to pass now. That's what they're doing. That's what they do with these ads they use and how they're trying to present stuff to us and things like that.
I would say that people say, "Oh, that movie or that show predicted the future." I would say no. These people in charge are using it as a template.
Right. They're trying to make this the future, right?
Well, it's like I say, 1984 is not a handbook; it's a warning.
Yes.
Right. That's yeah.
Yeah, but they seem to be using it as a handbook.
They seem to use it as a handbook. Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to stay in the 80s, and we're going on an adventure to the
My
eighth dimension.
God, I love your list, John. My God, Buckaroo Banzai across the eighth dimension. Hell yeah!
Now this is a what would become a huge packed list of stars.
Oh yeah, this movie. There were so many guys. You were seeing them before anybody knew who the fuck they were. You wanted to see a movie where you'll be watching it, going, "I know that guy," in little parts through the whole thing. It is amazing, man. Peter Weller before RoboCop,
John Lithgow, Ellen Barkin, Jeff Goldblum, Christopher Lloyd. Now this was after Back to the Future, so Christopher Lloyd was getting a name for himself. But I'm sure when he signed for the movie, he signed it probably roughly about the same time that Back to the Future came out, not knowing that he was going to be such a big.
Yeah, I don't think he had a clue how big Back to the Future was going to be, but he had just left Taxi.
Yeah,
a television show.
Clancy Brown
was on. Yeah,
forgot Clancy Brown's Rawhide.
Yep.
Hey, go.
Jeff Goldblum is in this.
Go to casting
when
again.
Nobody knew who the fuck he was.
That guy, Ronald Lacey, isn't he the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark? The guy who's
yes,
Yeah.
Roland Lacey is the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yes, he is.
Oh, it's gonna do
the guy whose face you get to see melt at the end of it.
Yeah,
that's him. Yeah,
yep,
that's him.
That's who it is.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I mean, this had,
and what a great premise.
John
Buckaroo Banzai is a rock star, a scientist, an explorer. I mean, there's nothing the guy doesn't do.
Yeah,
his whole life is a party, and half the guys you see on that cast list are his entourage. These are the guys that just hang out with him.
Jeff Goldblum, Lewis Smith.
Yep.
By the way,
Robert Ito. Pepe's. Let's see who else. Oh, Clancy Brown, obviously.
Yep.
Vincent Schiavelli, man.
Basically, anybody that has the name John in their character is the villain.
Right.
Because all the aliens have the name John something or other.
Yep. Big Booty. Big Booty.
Yep.
Not Big Booty. Big Booty. Big Booty.
Yeah. So, but it is a fun movie. If you've never seen it, it's one of those that I recommend that everybody see, because it's
you need to see it. It is just, it's one of my sick pleasures, dude. I will put this movie on and put it on a loop. So
basically
great.
Yeah, War Monkey's correct. He's basically a race car driver.
Yeah, race car driver, astronaut, etc. He does it all. Yeah. At one point, he's sitting there zen-like, sitting in a room full of swords. He's a samurai. I mean, there's nothing the guy can't do. He's a genius,
Technically, he's the ultimate Marty Stew.
But the thing about it is, he doesn't treat people like they're lower than him. He treats everybody as equals, and it's fucking great, man. He loves his entourage. All he wants to do is party with them. That's all he wants to do. It's great.
But he has to stop these aliens from.
That's right. He's got to take a break from the party long enough to save the universe, right?
Yeah,
he's got to do that.
I may be wrong, but was there a rumor that they wanted to do something with this movie, either a reboot or a continuation?
No, there's at the end of the movie, you see the title of the next, what was supposed to be the next movie, it says Buckaroo Banzai will return versus the World Crime League. Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime
I do remember that. And they just
never made that movie because this movie didn't make enough money.
It didn't. Yeah, it did not make a lot of money when it came out.
This is a movie that one of those movies that didn't do well at the box office, but did fantastic in the home rental market.
But the cult status, it had a total rebirth in Blockbuster Video. People rented that cassette every week. Yes,
it was hard to, if you didn't.
It was hard to get. Yeah,
you had to reserve it to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Damn.
You did.
But now for the next movie. What I was going to say is they actually instead of making a movie, they made a book. You can actually read the story that it was going to be. They wrote it as a novel. Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League.
Okay, cool.
So they you eventually get the story of what it was supposed to be, and I'm hopeful they'll turn it into a movie. But they'll have to, obviously Peter Weller's everybody's way too old.
Yeah, Farnsworth is mentioned in Dr. Detroit. That was cut out of the same cloth. It really was.
Yeah, it's that same level of. It's a B movie, but like I said, it's not really. It doesn't fall into the full sci-fi category.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I love Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. It is fucking fantastic.
All right, now we're actually going to go to a movie that's on it from the 70s. That's a reboot of another movie. But it is the superior movie of all the reboots that's been done to this movie.
You mean it's a reboot done correctly?
Yes.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I agree.
The 1978.
I agree. This is better than the first one. Yes. Mm-hmm. I believe so.
This is the one with Donald Sutherland and Jeff Goldblum. Leonard Nimoy's in this.
Yep. And no, he's not playing Spock.
No, he's
actually
not
playing a person. He doesn't have pointed ears.
Yep. But basically, this alien space plant comes down to Earth and starts taking over people and putting them in pods and rebirthing them as controlled people. And that's where the term pod people comes from. Whenever you hear somebody say pod people, they're talking about people that have like a group mind and group think, where they're not their own, they don't have ideas of their own.
Right.
So, so this, like I said, this came out in the 70s, 78. And this is one of those movies that were one of the few times that the reboot is better
than the original. Now, the original's a great movie too.
Yeah.
But it was made in the 50s, I believe.
Yep.
And I don't know, it was more of a paranoia piece than anything. This one is straight up sci-fi, man. It's not as you don't get the paranoid feeling on this one.
Well, you get paranoia in this. It's just.
But the sci-fi part of it, I think, is what it made it different.
Yeah,
they got more into that side of it.
Allow me to interrupt. Ariel Ballet, you're almost right, because when Nimoy voiced a Transformer, he even said the Spock line.
It's not a lie, young lady. He actually doesn't say any Spockisms in this one.
Nope.
He is Leonard Nimoy, the regular guy. He's a friend of Donald Sutherland's in it.
He had embraced. Remember, this is before Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people forget this about Star Trek. Star Trek only ran for 3 years and got canceled. Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't become the huge thing it is until the 70s, until it went into syndication. It was one of the first shows that went into syndication, and they showed it on a daily basis. And that's when people like me ran home from school to see it,
Yep.
And that's when the Star Trek convention started, and it just blew up after that. That's when they decided.
I think it was at this point that Nimoy was sick of Spock.
Yeah, he was.
He was sick of playing Spock.
He wrote a book and a play called "I Am Not Spock."
Yeah, he was sick of the Spock. Because that it's like he's like, well, I've done all this stuff, but all you do is see Spock.
Right.
But that would this was towards the end of that. He would start to embrace it when the motion picture comes out.
Yep. Oh, he definitely embraced it, because if you remember, the time that him and William Shatner were supposed to be on Saturday Night Live, together, that famous skit where William Shatner blasts his own fans, right, at the con, and then acts like he's the evil Kirk from a certain episode at the end of it. But it's funny as hell. It's funny as hell. But Nimoy was so offended for the fans that he decided not to be on the show because of that skit.
Yep.
He did not want to take part in that at all. That's how much he embraced the Spock character later on in his life.
Yeah.
He
Well-
really wanted to, and it showed because he ended up in damn near every Star Trek movie reincarnation there was.
Later wrote another book called I Am Spock.
Yep.
You know, and this is after he had success as a director too.
Yeah.
You know, he even directed a Star Trek movie. So, you know, I mean, a couple of them, didn't he? I think.
Well, no, this isn't after he had. This is before he.
Well, he had success with 3 Men and a Baby, and
well, this is before this. This is 78.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
he
yeah,
embraced
later on
Spock
he
after
had-
that. After he was director. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. But there was
But,
definitely a time where he wanted to shed that for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the 50s. In fact, we're going to go back to the beginning of the 50s, back to 1951. And what is probably my favorite disaster movie of all time, When Worlds Collide.
When Worlds Collide is a fantastic movie, man. Love that movie. We were talking about this one not too long ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, when we did
was
the
it disaster movies we were talking
did
about? Yeah.
We did the disaster movies. Now I know we did it on that list too.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the prototypical B movie. This was a B feature. This wasn't put out as a film. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie. In fact, it's a fantastic movie. It just didn't have. It had stars that were relatively famous at the time, as Kirk Allen, who you may know from a little character called Superman. Yeah, I think he was Superman. Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, he was Superman. In what year? 1948. So well before the George Reeves 50 series. Oh crap! I closed it. Hang on, sorry.
You're all right.
Anyway, so When Worlds Collide, basically eventually, hopefully it'll
It will.
it's being
Is it being a pain?
Yeah, it is. Since my internet went out, I've had some
issues.
Weirdness, yeah. But
You want me to grab it real quick and throw it up?
yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Actually, I've got it here. I opened it up on StreamYards or on Edge. It just opened right up. So
just flip it to a different one. Then you should just be able to copy and paste the URLs.
yeah. So When Worlds Collide. Like I said, basically the whole storyline is they find another solar system, a star and a planet, hurtling towards Earth. And so Earth is going to be destroyed. So they get together, they built this rocket in order to get mankind off of Earth so that mankind survives.
Yep. You know what movie reminds me a lot of it is 2012.
Yeah.
2012 reminds me a lot of it with the Ark ships and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of this movie.
But again, this had some aging stars like Gertrude Astor, who was an old silent star from the 20s and 30s. You had John Hoyt, was an early Western star. So you had these older stars. You also had stars that weren't names at the time that might, would eventually get some recognition. But yeah, it was definitely in the whole B movie genre.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's on his list, Ariel. I think we got kind of a early look at that, Ariel. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's
It's a great movie, though. The
Yeah.
stuff. The reason why I said it's a lot like 2012 is you see the disasters that come with the gravitational effects on the planet. There's a crack that opens up. You know, but I love the effects for the rocket. I mean, the only thing that throws it off is that flame coming out the back of the rocket. You know how it's kind of getting blown sideways, but by the wind. But other than that, you know, that whole thing with that rocket was cool as hell, man. I thought it was cool.
Well,
go ahead.
The next movie is actually an environmental film.
2012.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No. Silent Running.
Silent
From
Running. Oh
1972.
man, you talk about a Kubrick-esque type of flick. That was really cool movie. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see that one on there, man. Very small cast.
Well, it really had an impact. It had an impact on me. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
It does the environmental thing without hitting you over the head.
Right.
Basically, it amounts to Earth is screwed up, so we have to grow stuff on these ships, and things are happening, and we're the last of the garden ships.
Yep.
And it's really a study on what happens when you're alone and you don't have any people to talk to. You end up I can't say it now, but you end up
anthropomorphized.
Yeah, even you can't say it. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he puts human emotions into his robots, and he gets attached to them like people.
Yes.
And it shows you what what happens to a person when they're alone. And just like Moon, which would come out later, it's a study in the slow descent into not really madness, but
I'd say cabin fever.
Cabin fever,
is what it is. Yeah, it's cabin fever. And by the way, guys, the actor that's in this, Bruce is Dern. Fantastic. Bruce Dern, and those of you that are a little younger, you probably know his daughter really well from Jurassic Park, Laura Dern. This is her dad, and he is a fantastic actor. Of course, the entire world hates him because he's one of the few people that actually killed John Wayne on screen in a movie called The Cowboys. But he's a great actor. One of the most underrated actors of all time, if you ask me. Bruce Dern. Those of you that have seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he's the blind guy that Brad Pitt wants to check on at the farm. Yeah. You know,
and it's not a big cast.
No, it's not big because most of the movie is just Bruce interacting with
Bruce and Huey, Dewey,
robots.
and Louie is three robots.
That's
and
it.
And this is 72, so this is before Star Wars.
Yep.
Which you can see how they may have gotten a little bit of R2-D2 from Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the design.
And they appear in Star Wars.
Yeah. Now, from 72, you see a lot of things like they had in Logan's Run, the big domes and friggin' also, I see a lot of Space 1999 with the design of some of the space station and stuff. It looks like a lot of that.
The Star Lost.
Yep. Very cool
Star
stuff.
Lost.
Man.
Yeah. So, and the jumpsuits. Can't forget the jumpsuits.
Of course.
But so I mean, this is a B movie. This is in the 70s. B movies weren't quite. We don't actually get the first real blockbuster. See, blockbuster is different than an A feature. Blockbusters are those movies that do so well that they defy what at the time was the traditional trend for a movie.
Yeah,
and the first one was Jaws.
A perfect example on your list you've already shown was The Road Warrior.
Yeah,
that movie was a hit. Everybody went and saw that movie, but nobody knew the lore of it. No, not a lot of people knew it was the sequel to Mad Max here in the States. And, you know, not a lot of people knew the actors that were in it. I mean, you know, it just came out of nowhere, but it's still considered a B movie because of the production value and all that good stuff, you know, and the fact that it's turned into a cult classic. I mean, yeah, people, well, you just see that they've already recast the role. They have somebody else playing him here now in the 2000s. And, you know, that's how popular that character
they replaced him with Tom Hardy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which is a fine choice.
Oh yeah, I love Fury Road. That they need to keep that series going. If you ask
me. There's Furiosa coming out.
Furiosa?
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Is Max going to be in it?
I don't know. If
I don't think so.
Probably not. You know, it's girl boss type stuff. But no, it's supposed to. It got pushed back to like next year, I think.
Okay. All right.
Next up is the one. I believe it was
that you kind of teased earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice Pirates. Very nice.
And besides, Charlize and Tom, they hate each other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, this is a space adventure where the most precious substance in the universe is water.
Yep.
And there's a group of pirates that they go in, they steal ice from these big ice haulers that are taking ice from ice planets to non-ice planets so that people have fresh drinking water and space stations and stuff like that.
Off to plunder those icebergs. Yes, ma'am. You know it. And the head guy in this is one of my favorite guys. I don't think I ever saw anything with him in it that he didn't turn to gold. This may have been the least successful movie he was ever in. Robert Urich was somebody that, I mean, you know, he was on the series Vegas. I think it wasn't SWAT. He did SWAT before that. And he was just one of those faces that everything he was in, you could tell it was going to be successful. I loved it when he was later on before he died, and he died at a very young age. I think he died of cancer, didn't he?
I think so.
He was in Lonesome Dove with that bunch, and he was a very underrated actor, if you ask me. I'm a huge fan of this guy, Robert Urich. He was fantastic. I loved him.
This had Angelica Houston. Mm-hmm. Had Ron Perlman. Before Ron Perlman, got his name got out there. John Matuzak, who was a famous football player, turned actor. One of the earliest. Well, not one of the earliest, but one of the more, because you see him in a lot of roles. Because you remember he wasn't he Chunk in Goonies? Was that him or was that someone else?
Hang on just a second. Who are we talking about? I lost you for a second.
John Matuzak.
John Matuzak is not Chunk. No. John Matuzak was a football player for the Raiders.
Yeah. But he was also, I thought he was the actor that played Chunk.
I don't think so.
I don't know why Google.
Chunk? You talking about the little fat kid in Goonies?
Or not Chunk. Hey, you guys.
I
forgot his name now. I've seen this movie.
The Cyclops looking dude?
Yeah,
I don't think that's him, but I'll look it up for you real quick.
Okay, yeah, because
John Matuzak was in a lot of flicks, don't get me wrong, and he's another one that died early. I think it was cancer with him too, but he was.
I was right. Was
that him? Really?
Yep.
God. Okay. All right. You go, man. Do it. I can't remember the character's name, but I know who you're talking about. They did a hell of a makeup job on him then, because I wouldn't recognize him from that.
Sloth.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His last movie was 1990s Down the Drain, which was, low budget. Didn't pick it up. But I mean, besides this, he was in the Goonies. He was in North Dallas 40, One Crazy Summer. So, I mean, he was in several movies that were big, and he did a lot of stuff on TV.
Yep. Ron
Perlman. A lot of big name shows like A-Team and Dukes of Hazzard and some other ones, Silver Spoons.
Yeah.
Fall Guy. Yeah. So but so they had, I mean, this was it's definitely low budget.
Space herpes, yeah.
Space herpes, yeah. But this definitely falls into the category of Ariel. You missed the start. I'm sticking to the Western cinema. I'm sticking to the Western civilization cinema. I'm not including stuff from like Japan or Asia or anywhere else. Because yes, Godzilla here
that would have been number one on his list. You kidding me?
Yeah. Here it's a B movie, but in Japan it's not.
In Japan, that's a big budget blockbuster.
All right, so
but yeah, Robert Urich never had success in major motion pictures.
No,
most of his success came from television.
Yeah,
that's where he was. But he's in one of my favorite movies of all time, and he's a smaller actor in a movie called Magnum Force with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And he's a part of a group of vigilante cops, and every one of those guys, except for one of them, became famous. Every one of them. You had Robert Urich, who did Vegas and SWAT and all that on TV.
Yeah.
Then you had David Stoll, who was in Starsky and Hutch. And then you had what's his name? Masterson, the guy from Animal House.
I
can't remember the guy's name, but he was one of them too.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you look into their filmography and look at some of these guys, some of the hits they've been in as smaller roles. It's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot John Carradine's in this too.
Yeah. John Carradine.
By the way, Magnum Force was a movie that the Chief did a review on.
Oh, I'm sure he did. And I'm sure it's fantastic too. I wish I'd have seen it. I work on Tuesday, so I can't see that stuff live, but I'll have to go back and see that one for sure.
Well, we've got 8 movies left on my list. And we've got
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So we're going to pick up the pace a little bit.
Okay.
Next up,
we can go a little.
So you want me to stop distracting you, man? Is that
basically?
Okay, no problem.
The next one is 1953's War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. Yeah.
Obviously based on H.G. Wells and also the Orson Welles radio drama.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's my favorite version of it.
This is by far the best version. Nothing against Tom Cruise's version. This is just better.
It's good. Yeah, no doubt.
But Ann Robinson was the name at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have a lot of super people that
not a big name. Not a lot of big names.
But the special effects were great for the 50s.
Off the chain for the time it was made. It really was. The model work they did, coupled with the little bit of special effects they did with the film itself. Dude, it was way ahead of its time. It really was.
Yeah, yep. And it would show you what would happen if America the world got invaded by an alien species. That's how it would decimate the civilian population before the military got its crap together.
Yep.
And it's just, like I said, it's a very, very good film. It's well acted. I'm trying to think. Did Byron Haskin do anything else big?
I'm
sorry. I'm not Keith, so I don't have like the murder board and the computer up in the brain. So
it's cool, man. It's cool. I can help.
But yeah,
that scene was
oh yeah. But when people think of classic 50s sci-fi, this is one of the ones on the list. That They There Stood Still.
his the top four, you know how they give you the known four. Yeah. War of the Worlds is the only thing you'd have probably seen. The Seahawk, Arsenic and Old Lace,
Yeah, I've seen
and
that.
Man Eater from Kimon.
I've seen Arsenic and Old Lace. It's an Agatha Christie, so I've seen it.
Yeah.
I try and watch all the Agatha Christies. I grew up reading Agatha Christie because of my mom. My mom read Agatha Christie's all the time, and I would grab her books to read because I would run out of stuff to read.
Gotcha.
So, all right.
Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I did see that one. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And he did some Outer Limits stuff.
That's Robinson Crusoe on Mars is definitely a B movie.
Yes, it is. No doubt.
All right. Now we're going to go to one of the Universal monsters.
All right.
Look out. Sci-fi Universal
Creature
monster.
from
Yes!
Creature from the
My
Black
favorite
Lagoon.
one from the 50s. I was going to say, if you were going to do these by decade, that's my favorite one from the 50s right there.
1954. Not a lot of big name stars.
Who was the monster? For some reason, Johnny Weissmuller is jumping into my head. Gilman.
Riku Browning.
Okay.
Riku Browning.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Ben Chapman also played him on land. Riku Browning was in water and Ben Chapman's on land.
Okay.
So they had basically like two costumes.
We had a guy that was a better swimmer and a guy that was better at having web hands.
Yeah.
He had huge web hands, by the way, guys. Huge web hands. Yes. It was awesome.
Yeah. Big webbed claws. No thumbs. Well, I guess that's
Yes,
technically
he
the
had.
thumb.
He's got a thumb.
That's
When he
kind of a
opened his
thumb.
hand up, it looked like a big paddle.
Yeah.
With claws on it.
That is
The creature was great, dude. The Gill Man was great. He was awesome. That's one of my favorite movies ever, man. It's not top 5, but it's close.
No,
I put it in the top 10.
It's one of the iconic Universal monsters. Most people, but he's the one that gets left off a lot.
It does get left off a lot. You think more Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, but yeah, this is, dude. And the special effects in this for the time are pretty cool. They make him look like he's swimming really fast a lot of the time and stuff.
Well, the suit was well done.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
John,
absolutely.
Cam is another fan of your list.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cam is loving it, man.
We'll see if I can finish it out strong. Speaking of iconic 50s sci-fi. Oh, what? Wrong one. Sorry. It's supposed to be Day the Earth Stood Still. Why? I'm missing Dave. It's supposed to be Dave. No, that's next. Sorry. It's Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors is next, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I have them in different places. I must have closed.
An extreme. Now look at this. This is colorized because that movie's black and white.
That is black and white.
Yeah, they've got the colorized version on here, but
a very young Jack Nicholson stars in this movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely.
I like
the dentist.
I like the remake myself.
The remake. This is one of those and this was directed by Roger Corman.
Yes.
It's one of his earliest films.
Yep.
He also helped write it.
The only weak point of this movie is the end.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Not really a lot of big name people in it, of course.
But Jack is there.
Well, Jack. I mean, he eventually becomes big.
Yeah, you think maybe?
Yeah, he might be a big star. And for some reason, I closed Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, Ariel, you have to see this one.
The Rick Moranis version to me is the better version, but this is a good one too. There's a reason why they remade it. It's a good movie.
But see, whereas the 1960 version is more serious.
Yeah. It's not.
The remake's a comedy.
The remake is a comedy musical. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Steve Martin's the dentist in it. That's all I need to say about that. So,
Anyway, Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yes.
This is considered one of the best 50s sci-fi movies ever.
Yep.
And with no reason.
Yeah. Basically, alien lands. This is what an alien should do instead of all this, flopping around other places. They should land on the White House lawn.
That's it.
And
show up and let people know I'm here. That's it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
But basically,
Eric Bana.
humans are considered because of the nukes. Humans are considered a danger, and the early space race. Humans are considered a danger to the rest of the galaxy.
Yep.
So the alien shows up and says, either you become peaceful, or we're going to destroy you.
Yep. That's basically
not
it.
destroy you. We're going to send you back to the Stone Age.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
You're going to lose your tech. Don't bother with the Keanu Reeves remake, please.
No.
It's
as much
horrible.
as I love Keanu Reeves, that's a bad
Yes. Keanu made a bad decision being in that movie.
I like it. Not as much as this one.
It
But I
bored
like
me to death. I love this one, though. Yep.
Yeah, but and that Klaatu Barata Niktai,
Yeah.
that's where this came from.
Yeah.
That they used in Evil Dead.
Yep.
In everything,
Army
even in
Darkness,
Tron,
Yep.
they use that.
Yep.
So this is
And
a
we
classic.
have
It's
I'm sorry. We have an alien in the Return of the Jedi, whose name is Klaatu, and
Yep.
his species is Nikto.
Imagine that.
yeah. All right. From this, we're actually going to go across the pond.
Uh-oh.
Quartermass in the Pit,
Oh,
or as it
yeah.
was known here, 5 million years to Earth.
Nice.
Now, I included this on here as opposed to any of the other Quartermass movies because this one actually came across the pond. This one actually released in the United States.
Okay.
And a lot of the Quatermass movies did not.
I've heard of this series. I've never seen a single one of them.
Basically, Quatermass is like the spiritual inspiration for Doctor Who.
I got you.
Now, this is one of the later movies, but the original first ones were in the before Doctor Who came out.
Mm-hmm.
They were these old classic black and white stuff. But basically, they find the strange object. They first think it's like a World War II V2 bomb or something that they find, while digging the tube in London, and turns out that it's an alien UFO, and it has all these weird effects. So they're investigating what's going on, what's causing it, and why. Which is why 5 million years to Earth, because this thing crash landed millions of years ago.
Yeah, gotcha.
So,
And by the way, we have an episode in which we review this movie.
Oh, really? Cool.
did we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember us reviewing this. But yeah, this is all British. You're not going to know anybody who's in this unless you're.
Julian Glover, he ended
Mike-
up in a lot of American movies.
Yeah,
So
he
did
might
Brian
be the-
Marshall. Brian Marshall was in a few.
And
I
Star
remember
Wars
those two
Return of
guys.
the- No, he's General Beers in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Matter of fact, Brian Marshall, that picture is from The Spy Who Loved Me. That he's in that movie. Yep.
But you got to remember, James Bond are British movies. So.
Yes. Hello. They are. Well, they take place mostly in Britain, but they're
Yeah.
American movies.
They use British cast, though.
Yeah,
Most-
absolutely.
All right. From there, we're going back to the 80s.
Of course. Got to
To
go
a
back to
little
the
year
80s.
called 1984. But we're not doing 1984. We're doing the Terminator.
Wow, yes. A lot of
The
people
original-
forget the beginning of this franchise was a B movie.
Yep.
This is top 5 in my book, period. Movies of all time.
James Cameron before he was famous.
Dude.
This is where James Cameron came out. Was this his first movie after he came out of Roger Corman Film School?
Not sure. I think I do know the origin of it, though. I can tell you the origin of it. What happened was he was filming Piranha 2, and he was in Paris,
That
France.
was his first movie.
He was in Paris, France, and they were filming it in France, and he got an upper respiratory infection, and this he's a big fan of Robert Heinlein's writings about robots and stuff like that. And This is a fever dream he had when he was in the hospital with an upper respiratory infection.
Yep.
Was the first Terminator movie. He decided to write the script and do everything. And if you've ever watched some of the interviews or the behind the scenes stuff for this film, this is the definition of a B movie, guys. They were worried about getting arrested filming some of the stuff they did on the street.
Yeah,
like there's a simple scene where he steals a car and punches a window, and they were just afraid they were filming really quickly so they wouldn't get, so they wouldn't raise any alarm bells with anybody,
Yeah, they might not have had permits for all the filming.
Right, exactly. They shot this on a shoestring budget, and I mean, Arnold was in movies already, but nobody was really considering him as an actual, bankable box office guy.
Yeah,
when
that
this
wouldn't
was
come
made.
for a few more years yet.
And this movie changed all that.
Terminator 2 is probably when he officially was on the bankable, after like Terminator 2, Commando.
No, I think more Conan. I think Conan's the one that really made him bankable, because they made a sequel to it, you know, and all that stuff. But yeah, Terminator is the one that oh my gosh, man.
But I mean,
it perfectly cast. He sounds like a fucking robot anyway, you know. So it was fantastic. You couldn't ask for better casting.
His look as, this unstoppable killing machine is.
Yep. The practical effects, I mean, the only thing that doesn't stand up is the exoskeleton at the end. We know it's the old stop-start motion, but that's the kind of budget they used on this movie.
Yeah.
But man, some of the prosthetics were really great, though. When he's repairing himself with that eye and everything, it's really good for the time it was made. It was really good stuff.
But we've got Little Hamilton came out of this franchise. Michael Biehn,
Paul
Biehn,
Winfield,
Lance Hendrickson.
Once again, great directors love certain guys to be in their supporting
Bill Paxton,
cast.
the only person to ever be killed by Terminator, an alien, and a Predator.
Yep. He's been killed by all three. Yes, absolutely.
And who sorely missed.
Yes, it's a shame. Yeah. All
right, we got 2 movies left.
Man. Yes.
The last two were...
The opening of this is one of my... I get chills every time that I read it's kind of like... I know this is going to sound funny to you guys, but for me, the opening scroll of this is like seeing the opening scroll of Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, because, it says all this stuff, but then the last part of it said the battle for the future would be fought here tonight. And it very definitely it's going to be fought here, and
fought here tonight.
Very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that theme. And John Carpenter wrote that. I'm pretty sure. Or no, I guess he didn't. I'm thinking of somebody else.
No. That's James Cameron, man.
Yeah, James Cameron. It's yeah. I don't know. Well, I don't know why my brain said. My brain.
We can always overextend a little, Ariel.
All right. We got 2 movies left. We're going back to the 70s. We're going to finish out in the 70s. Both movies are from the 70s.
Okay.
Death Race 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Frankenstein.
Probably Sly's first movie after porn.
Yes.
I would say. Yeah.
David Carradine.
This is before Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone. Martin Cove, who you may know from the Karate Kid movies and
Rambo 2.
And Rambo 2 and Cobra Kai.
Yep.
Yeah,
but hey, David Carradine's in it, man.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me. Anything with Kung Fu in it, I'm in.
Basically, it's this dystopian movie where there's a game show where there's this race where they drive across the country and they get points for running people over.
Yes. And I think the best points was like an emergency room, right?
No, it was the nursing home because the nursing home would roll their patients out. So you hit the ones in the wheelchair, they're worth more points.
Right.
But so this is it's like a race, like kind of like like Cannonball Run or something across the country, but it has this whole dystopian thing because the planet's overcrowded.
Yeah.
So the sick and the infirm and the old, they get rolled out to become points for these guys. And these are like, these become like, they're like sports stars of their day.
Yeah.
They've all got characters. Yeah. Think if you've seen The Running Man.
This is The Running Man. Yeah. Before The Running Man. Yeah.
Well, now
not so
The
much
Running
because
Man was based on a book by short story by Stephen King. But The Running Man from Stephen King is nothing like the Running Man movie. The Running Man movie has more to do with Death Race 2000 than it does with the Stephen King story.
Well, except that in the Running Man, the participants are bound to die. Here, not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but this participants do die, but
Yeah, but it's not the point of the race.
No, it's not the point. It's just a dangerous race.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're all like, they're like pro wrestlers, and they have like the personas and the costumes and stuff.
Yep.
So, and rounding out the movie is we're going to leave it on probably the king of 70s sci-fi B movies.
Uh-oh.
Charlton Heston in The Omega Man.
The Omega Man. Yes. I Am Legend before I Am Legend.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we did that in this channel too. So
yeah, we did.
Omega Man's a good
Go
movie.
look for it.
There's a book that it's based on called I Am Legend. Richard, what's the guy's name? I can't remember, but Last Man on Earth was the first movie that they made out of it. But
it's been made. Yeah, it's been made several times. Yep.
Then The Omega Man came out, which is a departure, but it takes a lot of its, it's still recognizable as Last Man on Earth. And then finally, hey, that 70s rock fan, right as we're wrapping up.
Hey, sorry
Brian.
guys. I'm sorry I missed the
Brian.
rest. I was listening for a while, but I couldn't join. But I managed to catch you, and you're talking about one of my favorite movies, so that's great.
The Omega Man?
Yeah. Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, we're talking about like I was just talking about the history that it came from the novel, and then the Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, and this one, and then the I Am Legend with Will Smith.
Yeah, it's got quite a history, quite a length of.
The author is Richard Matheson.
One of my
Richard
favorites.
Matheson.
Yeah, great writer.
Yep, but Charlton Heston. Again, Rosalind Cash, who was in Buckaroo Banzai.
Who we got here in the chat.
Oh,
Monkey
Jeebus
Jeebus
shows up.
I haven't seen Monkey in a while.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Hey Monkey, how's it going? But yeah, this movie in a nutshell, the story is there's a biological catastrophe that turns everybody into essentially vampires, not quite, but
right.
They're kind of vampires. They exist at night. They do everything a vampire does. They're just not mystical. They're genetic.
Wait. We need the video for Monkey.
Okay.
He named the word.
Okay.
Maybe we can get in through the back door.
There you go.
We haven't done a backdoor reference in a long time.
Yep. That's because Gary's been gone for a little bit. So
yeah, that's true. But and the show she's on now is not really conducive to the backdoor jokes. So, but yeah, so basically, the scientist develops a vaccine that makes him immune, but nobody else. But he's trying
Damn
to.
Right.
Huh?
Damn right. That's the way to go.
So he's
I admire
basically
that.
He's the last he's the last normal man on Earth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody else, and he comes across other uninfected, but they eventually become infected.
Well, wouldn't that make him the only abnormal man on Earth?
Yeah, that's the whole point of this movie. That's what's great about this movie. This movie, and he comes to realize it, is he's the monster.
Yeah, that's what
He's
Anthony.
the
I was
boogeyman.
fixing to say, isn't the whole thing that the actual monsters in the movie are actually afraid of him?
Yeah,
and
he's
their
the monster.
boogeyman.
He's the legend. I am legend. Yeah,
Yes.
he's legendary to them. They're
Yeah,
scared to death of him.
and
Right?
Anthony Zerb's character keeps telling him that.
Yeah,
You're the odd one out here, not us.
yeah. Since everybody else has turned and you haven't, you're the weirdo.
Get with the
Yeah.
program.
But he
Yeah, with the
killed-
program, man. Come on.
he killed so many of them over this time frame that he just became the most infamous creature. Everybody was scared of him, and then he tried to kill him on sight. It was just they hunted him at night, so that's why he had that fortified house with all the lights and stuff to keep everybody away. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really good movie, and it was yet another movie that sci-fi movie that Charlton Heston did from the late 60s to early 70s.
He was the king of this stuff back
My
then.
favorite bit in this movie is where he calls them out for being damn dirty apes. Oh, wait a minute.
Wrong movie.
Wrong movie. We did discuss that. We
already
actually
talked about that one.
We had 3 Charlton Heston movies.
Yeah,
on
we
here.
had. Yeah,
Yeah, he
we
did
had
do
that
a bit.
one. We had
That's why he
this.
was one of my. Yeah, he was one of my favorite stars at the time because of that. Because this is the shit I was into, and he seemed to be in a lot of stuff like this, which was
we
really
had
awesome.
this. We had Planet of the Apes, and we had Soylent Green.
Yep.
Yeah, Soylent Green. We talked about that one too. Now, I got a
So-
question for Brian though. I know you're a huge fan of this story and this movie in particular. Did you like the Will Smith zombie version of it? Did you like that one?
I thought it was okay, actually. Yeah,
They're different movies, though.
Different
right?
movies,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I've got a copy of it here.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, but I'm a big fan of Richard Matheson. I mean, I started out by reading science fiction, not watching. Stuff.
And right at the end of the show, Keith arrives.
Slipped in right at the end through the back door.
Can't you see we talking? White?
Well, gentlemen. Technology is a way of just messing with us. Of course, that partially is a lot of what you probably have been talking about today. Finally got it fixed.
Good.
Finally got it fixed.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Up to a point. Totally disrupted what I wanted to talk about today. But then again, John comes up with something really, really cool.
Yeah.
So
he did. Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoyed my list.
Dude, it's a great list. Are you kidding me, man? It was awesome.
Now, I left a lot of movies off this list that I could have put on here.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back. I'm going to have to go back and watch the start again because I missed most of the show, unfortunately, to see what you had on there because I'm intrigued.
The one that gave me the feels the most that he put on there was Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. That movie is fucking
legendary movie. Love that
yes,
movie.
It is.
The novelization sequel by W.D. Richter, I've started it and it is good. It's like being home again.
I must get that, mate. Yeah, thanks for mentioning.
So is that the one about the world crime thing?
Yeah,
technically, yes, it is. It is the sequel we should have gotten from the man that created it all.
Yeah,
and it's from Dark Horse Books. Dark Horse put it out, but it's a novel, not a comic.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna get that. Yeah. So, did you have any of the older British stuff like the Village of the Damned and?
I did Quatermass.
Yeah, Quatermass.
I did.
Quatermass.
Sorry.
Quarter is a different thing. It's Quater.
Yeah, Quatermass. I did Quatermass in the Pit because that's the one that came over to the States as 5 million years.
Here's Cinema giving us the link for the show.
Yeah.
The other one that he kind of said was British, but I don't know if you could think of it as British. Was the Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange.
No, that's
it's a British movie. British production.
Yeah.
Another one I would have thought of if it was me was the Day of the Triffids.
Ooh,
Day
yeah.
of the Triffids, yeah.
I had that on my list, but I cut it because my list, this was huge anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds, isn't there, really?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good B movies. But if you want to see movies that aren't on this list that are good, just look up good B science or the best B science fiction movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll come up with, there's like IMDb list. There's like, I think Collider has a list. Rotten Tomatoes has a list.
Wait a minute. Rotten Tomatoes has a list.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Are
trust
we
it,
sure? Yeah, are we sure about that list from Rotten Tomatoes? I mean, seriously, are we really
yeah.
sure?
You don't have to read the fake reviews. Just look at the list.
Yeah, just look at the list. Yeah. That's all that matters. But but really, it's kind of an underappreciated.
I like this trailer.
Movie genre, and it's in and of itself is the B movie.
Well, it's underappreciated today. I mean, seriously, anybody of a certain age, there is kind of a built-in appreciation because that's a majority of what we grew up with.
Yep.
It wasn't like Hollywood was really pouring its best and brightest into science fiction as a genre.
No,
so really,
they didn't think it was bankable, really, back then.
That's right. Yeah. And so a lot of the best directors, especially what one would consider to be the best science fiction directors of the last 20 years, are people that definitely grew up on this genre. Yep. And when you think about a lot of the television shows or even just books and comics that came out during that entire era, it definitely was something that had a hold of everybody. There was no getting around it. I mean, I don't care if you were reading DC and Marvel comics or watching various television shows like The Invaders or even UFO. I mean, just it's all good. It is all good.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids today do not know what they're missing because you guys, I am sorry to say, you're having to sit down and watch stuff like Ashoka. Okay, I'm so sorry for that. I am so sorry for that.
Yeah, go back and visit this list right here and look up some of the lists he's talking about because you'll see some better stuff.
Yeah, Joe, you and I and Keith are of a similar age, albeit you guys are way older than me. But no, we're of a similar age. We had such great genre shows all the time. Tons of them in the 60s and 70s. Just,
I don't know if you guys talked about this at the beginning. I don't know if John had brought this up, but the death of David McCallum this week really highlights someone who was very good at finding those shows. And for me, The Invisible Man, Sapphire and Steel.
Never seen it. No, I'm just kidding.
You've never seen it?
No, it's a joke. No, it's a joke. The Invisible Man. Never seen it.
Never seen it.
If
one season only as well, 13 episodes. What a waste! I did a little video about him. Yesterday.
Yeah, I was about to point out your video because I watched it. Was it last night?
Yeah, and I missed the Invisible Man off just for time purposes. Otherwise, it would have got that long, and I didn't have enough time to prep. But yeah, you're right, Keith. I mean, the Invisible Man. Sapphire and Steel. I loved that show. I was 15 or something when that came out. I was absolutely in love with that.
The ending of that show, it left me what?
but see, that's the way it should be. And really, with television, you could do all sorts of different things. It wasn't just about having enough money to provide spectacular visual effects. I mean, everything can't be Blake 7. Okay, sometimes you can have something that kind of walks the line between social commentary, drama, and science fiction a little bit, because there's that portion of it that you have in a show like The Prisoner, or you have modern day Quatermass, with probably the only show from Alex Kurtzman that's any good, which is Fringe.
Yeah. And my wife and I are actually watching that right now.
It is a very well done show.
Yeah, it is.
And I just I think part of the thing about that show being so good is the fact that Alex Kurtzman wasn't really running that show for that long. I think the first season is all he got, and then they turned it over
It's him
to
and JJ together, as a matter of fact. Two
JJ,
franchise destroyers working together.
And Robert Orsi, who is probably the only talented genre fan of the three names that we've mentioned. And while he's not doing anything today, I guarantee you that it was Orsi who probably convinced Leonard Nimoy to be a part of the show. Spoilers for those that never seen the show,
and that's a great episode.
But he's in there. Yeah, he is.
He has a big role, a major role in the overall story. So
I just want to point out what FKHC's comment there about Joanna Lumley and Doctor Who. She would have made a great doctor if they're going to gender swap the Doctor.
Yep.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yes.
She would have been perfect. That's a great call.
It just makes me, long for that entire era all over again. And I'm envious of anybody that's curious enough to check all this stuff out, because this will be your first time. And it oh my goodness. 70s and 80s and 60s. Nothing like it.
We've got a friend that's in his early 30s that's on my weekly show, and we started this thing called the Knock List. And trust me, we're going to get him watching some of this stuff for sure.
Oh, geez.
Because what it is we're going through a list of movies. He started with this 100 greatest movies of all time, and we started going through it last night, and he's got quite a bit of homework to do, and we're probably going to have to do science fiction at some point for him.
Yeah.
So it's a good point. Good learning experience, Joe. You're putting on somebody there. It's great. I like that. But what I loved about those shows, particularly the British ones and some of the American ones, they weren't all big budget, was the fact that they knew they couldn't rely on flashy, big budget productions. So they had to have story. They had to have characters. They had to have the right actors that would put life into those characters.
Stuff you're not getting with a lot of stuff today.
Yeah, now they just throw money at it and it's glossy shit. Doesn't even look that good sometimes now with the crappy CGI.
Yeah, current day Star Trek. Oh, did I say that out loud? What I meant to say was current day Star Wars.
I mean, as well you should. As well you should. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the.
Bravo, John.
Bravo, John. Great stuff, dude. You need to do another list.
Yeah, brilliant.
I had to come up with a topic last minute, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do it if I can change.
Why not talk about shit I love? That's great. Let's do that.
I'll just talk about stuff I like.
John, I would not have blamed you if you had tried to continue what I did last week. I understand why you didn't, but I would not have blamed you. But great guy. I mean, just great show. Great show, man. Great show.
Like I said, I told Gary that I couldn't think of doing that list without you.
You know what? That's an easy list to hit, because this is only top. This is the top 10. I think I did the hard stuff last week. It's pretty. Look, I'll tell you a secret. I have my list of names. Ask me how many times I've changed that list just within the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
The positioning of the names.
Yeah, people say, give me your top 10, whatever, and I write down 15 things, and then I write down 20, and then I write down 25. And then I'm going to change it, and I can't do it.
Well, I'm committed now because I'm down to the top 10. I did the 11 through 20 last week. I'm down to 10 to 1 for the upcoming episode that I've yet to do, and there are quite a few names.
Now this is enemies of fandom, right?
Yeah.
Oh, these are the top 20 people that have.
We may have mentioned some of them just a few minutes ago, but
probably these are the people that have hurt fandom. I mean, they have done damage to it, and again, some of them you would think all of them could be contenders for the top spot. But only one can actually sit at that top
there
spot.
Could be only one.
But there are a lot of different people, and there are some that might surprise. There are some that you'd have to go, well, I don't know, but I mean, I try to lay out a case for every single one of them as to why they are on the list and why they're see, that's the hard part. Why do they place them at that number?
Yeah.
Because like I said, almost any one of them could sit right there at number one.
Yeah.
So,
which is another reason why I didn't want to do the show, because I consider that your list.
There you go.
Oh no, I haven't. There hasn't been a person on that list I didn't agree with. Maybe different placement on level on where they are on the list.
Yeah,
everybody belongs on that list.
And there are some that I'm just, you know, again, I have gotten some people that have contacted me about what we did last week. And my only thing is I'm pretty sure you probably would have certain people different places. But this is, you know, came right out of my head, and based on the stories that we've done over the last 5 to 10 years where a majority of these names have popped up, the things that they have done, there are things that I'm not allowed to even talk about because I've gotten stuff from people in the industry. I'm telling you, all of these people, one way or another, deserve to be on that top 20 list because they've all done damage to fandom. Yeah. And some more than others.
They've gone above and beyond. Yeah, gotcha. Got it.
So, yeah, I think we're probably going to try and do that next week.
Yes.
So
yeah, we found out what my problem was.
Okay, good.
And definitely it was not my fault.
That's good.
Was it Gary's fault? Was it Gary's fault?
I wish, unless Gary can actually, you know, climb poles.
Well, there's a rumor that maybe.
I know nothing.
I see nothing.
Hello, Kim. Look, all I want to say again is I am proud of what you've done today, John. Really, all you guys are entertaining, and I could just sit and listen to every single one of you guys for hours because you guys, all of you, are that good.
I couldn't have done it without Joe or Martine. So,
gracias, amigo.
Martine's always fantastic. Joe is out of this world because he's Joe. You know, I mean,
he's never in this world.
He's just an old guy.
Another planet somewhere.
I'm hanging out on Krypton with you know who. You know.
Look. Let me at least leave this for next week to lead into what we're about to get into with my list next week. After what WDW Pro had to say yesterday, certain people might find themselves a lot higher on that list. And I will say, if you've not listened to what he had to say about what is coming for Marvel and the Marvel films, namely what they're going to do with Deadpool 3, there's a real good chance that there's going to be a lot of really disappointed people. Not with the performance of the lead actor, but what they are doing with that film and with the X-Men outside of Hugh Jackman in particular. You will not be happy. And then there's what he discussed as far as I think Doomcock also had something to say about Fantastic Four and the way they're doing that, and part of the reason why it's been so hard to cast. Because
this is WDW Pro yesterday, you said?
I think it's either WDW Pro and or Doomcock. I have to preface that. Okay. Doomcock was talking about the fact that they have decided to monkey around with the Fantastic Four a little bit. So, first of all, not surprised. Second of all, hey, Bob, how about that whole, we're just going to relax off of the whole culture war thing. Yeah, you're about to make things way worse if you screw with the Fantastic Four. So, and trust me.
Don't mess with the first family of comic books, people.
Didn't they learn anything from Fan Four Stick? at all.
It's going to make Fan Four Stick look like something that you wanted to see.
It'll make it
if
look
even
like
some of that
2001.
stuff comes true.
Yeah, it'll make it look like an epic, a legendary epic that we've always loved.
Well, at least we'll always have the Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Oh God, that is huge compared to what they are about to do. Let's just say the leader of the Fantastic Four is
Sue Storm.
Sue?
A woman.
That's exactly what they're going to do to it, and that basically Reed Richards' name is barely even mentioned in the script. They call him Mr. Fantastic a lot, and it turns out that he's going to be the pseudo antagonist.
The fuck?
Oh God! Come on.
To his wife.
Oh.
He's going to be the bad husband. You know what they're setting. You know what they're setting.
Oh wait,
up,
wait,
right?
wait. I can see it now. She had an affair with Namor, and he's pissed about it, and he's the bad guy, right?
Actually, no. She's in a bad marriage, and that forces her to Namor.
What? Oh my!
Okay, so
Thanks,
I'm
Kevin
looking
Feige.
forward to this show next Thursday.
Desecration.
Looking forward to this.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's just say, hey, Disney's teeing it up all right for you, James Gunn. Don't blow this.
Right, don't blow it.
Well, I'll have my popcorn ready to see that box office burn.
Yeah.
It will burn.
Well, we're gonna get a nice
burn.
we're gonna get a nice advanced preview of that with the Marvels. But yeah, you're right. It's whew. Anyway.
This is why I'm glad I did something positive today.
Yes.
That's
We
right,
need positivity in our
We've
lives.
got decades
Positivity.
of good shit. We don't have to give the new shit any attention.
Yeah,
Nope.
boys and girls, listen. All this talk of strikes and things like that, and everything you're reading up on, and they're destroying our characters and stuff. Look, just go back and check out the stuff that John just talked about for 2 hours.
Yes.
Trust me,
Yes.
you will enjoy it a lot more than anything that's coming out today.
Yes. And again, for those
Believe
of you
that.
that have avoided, please, 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 please do not allow how old something is to throw you off. Trust me,
That's a fact.
there's a lot of good stuff out there. Okay, and for shows like, for instance, Babylon 5, that's a good one to get into. Okay, for some of you out there, it might be a quote-unquote old show, but trust me, you'll get a lot more out of watching 5 seasons of Babylon 5 than you will have made or gotten out of Discovery and Strange New Worlds and all the other new Trek combined. Trust me on that one.
Yeah, and when it
Besides,
comes to
if you haven't
films,
seen it, it's new for you.
yeah, it's new for you. That's right. And when it comes to films and stuff like that, look, man, go back and watch Buckaroo Banzai, the movie we talked about earlier. The show. You'll see a bunch of guys that you know, that you've seen in several movies.
Yes.
When they were very young, just having a good time, making a great movie. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Oh, and then go by the book. Go by the novelization to the film and the sequel novel. Buy them both. And if you really enjoyed it, make sure you say something online, whether it be on Twitter or contact the company and or authors. Let them know. That's really for all this stuff. If you've enjoyed it, let whoever is responsible for putting it out, let them know. Let them know.
Yep.
Because the higher ups do hear about it.
And what's funny is one of the things that it really has been making us mad when it comes to this fandom stuff is the diversity and inclusion thing. You're never going to find a character that's more diverse and inclusive than Buckaroo Banzai.
Right?
He had an entourage that you would never forget, and it's made up of a bunch of dudes you'd never think would ever gel together. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. All right.
The novel for Buckaroo Banzai, though, is incredible.
Yep.
Okay, it is even it lets you know even more. Just like the novelization to Flash Gordon, there's some stuff in there that they definitely kept out of the movie, and you'll realize why when you read the novel. So for those of you that have seen the movie several times, seek out the novelization to Flash Gordon, Buckaroo Banzai, Star Trek V. Seek that novelization up. Trust me on this. Seek it out and read it. That's the film we should have gotten.
Yeah.
And then Batman Forever. The Batman Forever novel is way better than the movie. It's a closer example to the longer version of the film that's been rumored for years. The 3-hour cut of the film. And there's a lot of things that make way, way, way more sense with that movie. Especially the fact that time-wise with the story, Batman Forever is actually the longest of all the Batman movies. Because it takes place over 1 year.
Yeah. That's my wife still thinks Val Kilmer's the best Batman ever. She loves the guy.
Well, then have her read the novelization, because I'm saying Warner Brothers missed out big time, because they could probably have a lawsuit against the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Really?
Yes. Wow. The way that they do Jamie Foxx's character Electro is eerily similar to the way that they have Riddler and his storyline.
Exactly.
For the movie
Yeah,
Batman
I can
Forever.
see that. Yeah, absolutely.
And in the novel, it's real close. If you add in the Batman Forever novel to the movie that you saw with Jamie Foxx for Spider-Man, trust me, it's a little too close.
Well, unfortunately, we're 30 minutes over now.
Whoa!
So we probably need to wrap this up.
Hey, that's what happens when you get a bunch of guys together having fun.
Yep.
It's my fault.
It's okay.
So I'd like to thank everybody that was here. We have a nice little list as soon as I open it up. Penny was here. Christian DeLorme. Cam's Crash Courses. Darius Munchausen, thank you for the super sticker, and thank Christian DeLorme for the super chat. Lady V Elements. We had Kay Roberts, Ariel Ballet, Funk Junk 420 on Rumble. Over on Rumble there. We have Jim Watari, Boosh McFadden. War Monkey was here. Alex Moore. And Monkey Jeebus made an appearance.
Jeebus?
Yeah. Hadn't seen Jeebus in a little while. So
Monkey Jeebus rocks.
For Pop Culture Minefield and Keith and Joe and Martine and that 70s rock fan Brian, this has been Daswolfen, and hope you all have a good afternoon.
Rocks.
Bye all.
Bye.
Brian rocks.
So
Come on! I'm doing a show!